Hello, Linda. Hello, Nadia. Welcome to another episode.
Hi, Rob.
How are you this evening? I'm
Doing
assuming
well.
it's evening where you are, or is it still afternoon?
No, it's evening. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, so you're close. Hello, Nadia, where are you?
Hey, I'm in Blue Ridge Mountain, Virginia.
Oh, nice. You're East Coast. All right.
Yep.
And you're in Heather, you're in Tennessee. Where are you? Tennessee?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh, wow. All right. I love North Carolina, so I guess Pennsylvania, we're headed in that direction. All we need is a West Virginia, a couple of
West Virginia's
Tennesseans,
beautiful.
we'll be all right.
Mhm.
I know Lynn would be here momentarily. She has a class that she does normally from 6 to 7. She's got like a Soul Master University, some type of a class she's doing this evening, and she should be with us any moment. It's busy playing with all my stuff, trying to get things set up and correct. And then, like 2 weeks ago, I was hacked with the credit card, You get the call, they got your card. They didn't do anything, they stopped the fraud. But then you get the new card, and then you got to spend hours going and changing all your information and everything. And then you realize, wait, maybe I really didn't need that subscription now, did I?
Right. That just happened to
So
me
it's not a
literally
bad
like
thing.
2 days ago too. I got hacked and Wells Fargo pulled it. I was like so sick of this. It's like the fifth time.
It happened to me 2 months ago with another credit card, different bank.
I've actually had that happen to me twice this year, and I love my bank. My bank is great. Like, they caught it. It was like a $2.40 charge twice in a row, and they were like, "Hey, this is suspicious."
That's the test. They test it to see if it'll go through.
That's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we all know what that's like.
Yeah, right. It's unbelievable. They push us into all this technology, but they can't guarantee that we're safe, Hey, Lynn.
Hello.
How are you? Hello, Carol.
Hello.
Good evening, Carol.
Mhm.
Hello.
You look lovely, Miss LaBorde. Lovely.
Thank you. Hey, Carol, I sent you an email response, so you can look for that. Hello, Miss Linda. Hey, Heather.
Hi.
All right, I got to put on my glasses. I can't see who else is here. Is it Nadia?
You got it right. Thank you. Yes, it's Nadia. Thank you.
Oh, I said Nadia. I said
You
it a little
did.
too fast. I'm sorry. Nadia. All right.
Nadia.
I'll accentuate properly.
It's so funny. I literally heard your name in my head. I love that.
Aww.
Spirits are with us, baby. Hi, Heather.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And here's sweet Tess. Hi, Tess. Now, Carol and Linda, is this accurate when I say that the two of you are cousins? How sweet is that?
Oh, there you go.
It's a family affair. I love that.
Right.
It's so funny. The other day I was like, just, I don't know, grousing and going, God, nobody that I work with ever refers me to anybody. And Linda's like, hold my beer. And then she brings in Carol, and Carol's like, I'm thrilled, I say. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is my dearly beloved soul brother, Robert Scarpa. Rob has lots of brothers and sisters, and I certainly consider myself to be one of them. But physically,
in there somewhere.
Right, somewhere in there. You have like 8 in your family?
10. I have 9 brothers and sisters. I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers. My mom had us all in 12 years.
Mom and Dad got busy. Good Lord.
They were busy. There was no TVs.
Good.
And that's what they used to say. And both my brother and I are born in the same year. We're Irish twins. I was born in January, and he was born in December.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah. That's my brother Dave.
Dave?
I think you might have met Dave once. You might have met him.
How sweet. Over the years, so Rob shows up at my house. My mom has this big, huge family room, about 425 square feet. And I had a business partner, James. In fact, we're coming up on our 7-year anniversary on the 29th.
Wow, already? Wow.
Yep, I know. I
7
can't believe that.
years. Me
James
neither.
and I met 8 years ago, and then we opened the Soma Life Sanctuary 7 years ago. So we had this big event with this man by the name of Dave Young. We had 33 people in this room. It was crazy. And we had all these pyramids set up. And a woman named Ellen shows up, and she invites her friend Rob, and Rob comes through the door, and he literally bursts on the scene with all this energy. And I'm like, I love this person. Like, you know, you meet people and you're just like, this person is a piece of my family, piece of my soul. And I know that I've told this story again, but I just feel compelled to tell it. So one of the things that I do is I teach people how to read the Akashic Records. And Rob had come and he had done channeling training. He was prolific and is prolific with bringing forth automatic writing channeled messages. He's probably channeled over 50 different ascended masters with over 1,000 different messages since January of 2019. But he was really resistant to anything to do with the Akashic Records. So he comes to me one day, and it's interesting. The harder they come, the harder they fall. Because Wendy was the same way, another dear friend. And he was like, I want nothing to do with the Akashic Records. One day he comes in and he goes, okay, they've told me I need to learn how to read the records. I'm like, great, come over. I got to drop my car at the shop because we live like 5 minutes from each other. He comes, he meets me at the shop, drives me back to my house, and we start doing the Akashic Records training one-on-one. And at one point he asks about himself. And then there's a point where he has to practice reading my records, and we're asking questions about me. And they say that we are related to each other from a family that's called the Pauldings. And the Pauldings are very famous in Huntington. And as a matter of fact, Bob and his family happened to live in one of the homes that the Pauldings used to own. And there's Paulding Pond, and there's all these things. And Rob goes, get in the truck. So he drives us to the local cemetery where I've always said since I was little, because we grew up right next door to the cemetery, I've always said, I'm going to be buried in the cemetery. What I should have said is, I am buried in the cemetery. So Rob drives us to the gravestones of Hiram Paulding, his wife Anne, who I was, and then his son, who Rob was. So we're looking at these gravestones, and somehow the topic of, he says, you know that they used to own Condor Hall. And Condor Hall is this huge mansion, millionaire estate that goes from the shore to the end of the land. But it is my favorite piece of property on Long Island. And I didn't know why. When friends of mine would come in town, I would drive them there and I'm like, look at this view. At the very end of this piece of property, there's now a school called Southdown School. And we used to live right down the road from it. And I was always mad at the school. Why would you? It makes no sense. Why would a person be mad at a school? Because I was like, that used to be my property and that school shouldn't be there. So this is the magic that Rob has. So a couple of years ago, he and I did a program together that we called Soma Life Sundays. And I don't know, we did maybe 25, podcasts. And hi, Deborah. Welcome, my love. And then Jesus came to me and he's like, you're going to do a podcast. And I'm like, okay. Friend of mine came up with the name and he said, it's going to be called Jesus Christ, Not Another Podcast. And then Jesus came in and he said, no, you're going to call it Jesus Christ, Not Another Fucking Podcast. And when I mentioned to Rob, Rob's like, don't you think that's a little, sacrilegious? And I remember
I never used the word sacrilegious. I never use that word. I don't believe in sacrilegious anything.
Anyway.
I just said offensive.
but everybody loved the name because here's the
They
truth.
do.
I'm a New Yorker with a filthy mouth. Like that's just who I am. That's as God made me, right? You either love me or you don't love me. But it's just been everyone has laughed at it. The people that have been offended by it, they don't come back. One woman wrote on YouTube and she said, don't you think it's offensive? She actually did use the word offensive. Don't you think it's offensive to use the word Jesus and fucking in the same sentence? To which I said, obviously not. Obviously not. So anyway, welcome. I am a psychic, a medium, a full body trance channel. I do not do automatic writing like Rob. I actually welcome beings into the physical body. They scoop me out. I go far away. I am an unconscious channel, and I channel Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and about 25 others. So that's who we are. And I thank you all so much for being here. Wait, there's a couple other people that dropped in that I just want to say a quick hello to. And tonight,
Yeah,
Rob
lovely
calls me
Lynn.
on Argos. He goes, tonight we're going to talk about ascension. And I'm like, yeah, love that topic. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. Alex. Hi, Alex. And then Lynn is here as well. So
Hi,
Alex,
how are you?
we have another family member. Alex is Rob's nephew. And
One of
a
my
friend
nephews, I have
and a friend of
plenty.
mine. Yeah, one of, I'm sure, hundreds. I've seen the pictures of the family reunion. Like the camera's not wide enough. You got to step really far back. Anyway, so one of the things that I'd love to start out with is asking Rob. Rob has brought forth a couple of his gorgeous messages for us for today. So I'm going to ask him to share those with us. And then we'll chat a little bit. At another point, I'm going to bring Yeshua through, Yeshua Ben Joseph, colloquially known as Jesus, and we'll do a Q&A and you guys can ask questions and we'll go from there. So Robert, my darling, would you please be kind enough to share some of your gorgeous
Absolutely.
messaging with us?
Thank you, Sister Lynn. It's great to be with everybody and once again for another podcast. And yes, the name has grown on me. I don't know. I do not take offense to it. No one really has, except the people in my own family. When I shared it with all my sisters and brothers were like, oh, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. But then when my wife's like, I love that name. I think that's great. So I'm like, well, my wife's normally right. So I'm just going to go with what she says. So that's how that, you know what I'm saying? I've learned after
Lori's a very smart woman.
30 lot of years. Yes. And I said to Lynn earlier, tonight's topic, I want to talk about ascension because it's a word that's thrown around a lot, but maybe it's not defined specifically to what it actually means now in 2024. Okay. Some people feel ascension, and I believed it until I got on this path that, okay, you just float up into the ethers, into space, and you would ascend into, the heaven and the clouds, and everybody just be floating around. And that to me was ascension, especially based on what the Bible tells you, right? And all the angels and all that stuff. Well, once you start to get to know the angels and you start to talk to the angels, and then you start to peel back this onion that is the Great Awakening, you start to, I don't use the word too many times, you start to have a different perspective on what ascension means to us now at this point in our life, in this timeline, in this world that we're on. Ascension is the shifting of paradigms. It's the changing of dimensional realities. This is what I've been told. And we are moving into the latest dimension, or the next cycle, called the Age of Aquarius. We've been in it for about 12 years. It's about an 18-year process till 2030. So we really get solidly into it. And then we will really start to see more and more positive results. But right now we're going through the transition process where everything is being thrown up at us. All of the things that do not serve humanity, all of the negative stuff, all of the crimes against the planet, crimes against humanity, crimes against the children, right? We're seeing all of this stuff. And it's all because we're connected with the web, right? This World Wide Web has taken however 100 billion people that are on this planet, whatever that number is, and put us all together. And now we can talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time, including the people that are floating around in the space station, right? There's no limit. So the technology is moving us into the crystalline, right? Our phones are crystal. They're no longer carbon. Those old gas tubes in our telephones and our TV sets, everything is crystal, right? So Yeshua Ben Joseph, and I've said this before, right? Jesus, Yeshua Ben Joseph, is now referred to as Jesus Christ. I don't know where he picked up the Christ part, but the Christ stands for crystalline. So when we move into the crystalline, we're in a higher frequency, a higher bandwidth. And in that process of ascension and moving into this higher bandwidth, we have less room for negativity, less room for things that do not help energies to expand and ascend, I guess would be a good word. fear, control, manipulation, illness. It keeps us down. It keeps our vibration low, your vibration's low. It's very hard to pull yourself out of it, right? And that's when everything starts to cascade and potentially in the wrong direction. Health, relationships, jobs, on it goes, right? So it's about, we all know this, staying positive, always seeing the bright side of everything, right? Not enunciating the stuff we don't want, only putting words to what we do want, creating that. And all of those techniques that we are doing as a collective are helping the collective to ascend simultaneously, because in oneness, we are all part of the one, right? So what you do doesn't directly affect me, but at an energetic level, it does. And everything I do affects you energetically, right? There's no separation of energy. It's just in a different, it takes a different form, right? Energy cannot be destroyed or created, it just changes form. So it's up to us now in this ascension to make sure that all the energy that we emit or utilize is of a positive nature. That will help us to ascend. And the more we all live in love and light and get along with each other and leave this nonsense, the faster we come together back into a level of oneness where we can all move into the peace on earth phase of our existence here on the planet. Okay. That's a lot to digest in a few minutes. We'll work on it every week. I mean, I could talk and talk and talk about all this stuff, but we only have an hour. I don't want Lynn to.
So the message that I'm pulling out of that is how important it is for us to keep our vibration levels high. And I just have been recently doing certifications in pranic healing, and there's 3 ways that we receive prana. This is the light essence of source itself, of God. We receive solar prana, and that comes in through the body when we're subjected to the sun. We receive air prana. Does anyone know where we receive air prana in our body? This was fascinating to me. It comes in through the spleen. Air prana comes in through the spleen, and the spleen is on the left side of the body, kind of the opposite of where the liver is. And then, of course, we receive ground prana by walking upon earth. So taking your shoes off, earthing, having your feet be, in the water, walking on the sand, having your feet be on the grass, walking on the earth, anything like that. So those are 3 sources of prana for us. And most of us are used to receiving prana that comes from what produces oxygen for us? The trees.
Plants. Sure.
Right, trees and the plants. So it's very important for us to do what we can to keep our energy high to help with our ascension process. And this is getting enough rest, eating, food that has light in it, not food that's cooked or dead or killed or things like that. Fruits and vegetables that literally have light, have color, different color. Prana comes in different colors. So one of the things that I found fascinating about this whole community is that they focus on 11 chakras. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what 11 chakras are you referring to? And they're like, oh, some of the hidden ones, like the spleen chakra, the middle of the forehead chakra. And I go, hold on a second, middle of the forehead, crown, third eye. They go, no, crown, middle of the forehead, third eye. I'm like, wait, what? Crown chakra. And then you have the pineal and the pituitary, which I always question. How could they both possibly be in the same chakra? They're not. The pineal is connected to the forehead. The third eye is connected to the pituitary. So there was that. Then there's the throat, the heart, the navel, the sex chakra. And then on the back, there's something called the Mengmein, MENGMEIN, which is the back of the navel. And then the basis that they call the basic chakra, which is the root chakra, but through the back. And then the front and back of the sacral chakra. So I learned this whole system. And then when you do the advanced class, they teach you about color prana. So we get to the point, and how you activate the chakras is you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth. So everybody put your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Take an inhale in through the nose, and then exhale through the nose. They say, breathing is meant to do through the nose. We use our mouth for that. Our mouth is meant for eating and for conversation, but breathing is meant to be through the nose, which is why we have two different nostrils, and why sometimes we'll have one nostril that's clogged and the other one's open. Anyway, listen, this will blow your mind. If you want to find out about this, go to pranahealingusa.com or pranahealing.com. But the other thing that they said is the use of prana allows us to keep our elevation high. So they're teaching us the different colors. They get to a color called electric violet. And who shows up but Saint Germain? And I said, is this the violet flame? And he said, yes, but you have to be very careful when you apply it. Because if you apply direct violet light with intentionality through the hands, you can burn someone. You have to raise their vibration so that they can receive more light. This whole thing is fascinating. I'm going back in 2 weeks to do a crystal training where they teach you how to use crystals to do healing. Where's my crystal? And the crystal is infused with a little piece of gold in the end of it, but you use the crystals to direct where the prana goes. So there's so much that's available for us to keep ourselves in an ascended state. Make sure you're getting enough rest. Make sure you're getting proper nutrition. Make sure you're sitting in silence and you're unplugging. Have you guys seen this video? Rob, this will blow your mind. About the blue screen. You know who actually created the concept of the blue screen? The mafia. They created the casinos, the blue screens of the machines, put everybody in these dark rooms so that they could begin to hypnotize them. And they're like, let's add alcohol and let's get everybody's money from them. And then that turned into the iPhones and the computers. So we get hypnotized by these things. Very, very interesting. Very, 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 very fascinating. I'll send you the video. I have it. It's crazy.
Share that one on the group. And you got on your phone.
So ascension is an inside job. It's really up to us to become very, very vigilant about what we let in, what we listen to, who it is we hang out with, the waters that we drink, the food that we eat, the ways that we pray, the choices that we make. There's a brilliant little book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, and I love talking about this book. Lucifer Morningstar lets all the secrets out. And he says, the greatest way that I can catch humans is through something called drifting and hypnotic rhythm. And if you want to break free of that, you have to have what's called definiteness of purpose, which is where you're no longer just doing reading, writing, and arithmetic and putting yourself into a beta state in your mind. You're literally willing yourself into alpha, willing yourself into theta, and allowing yourself to connect with the quantum realm. This I could talk about all day. Please forgive me. Keep your
this is
vibration.
Everything we do is part of the ascending process. I mean, that's
Exactly.
the bottom line, right? The bottom line is we're going full steam ahead. It's happening. It's up to you. It's up to you where you want to be on the train. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be
Exactly.
at the boot, try and work yourself to the front, but it doesn't matter because we're all going to get there. The train only has one destination. There's only one track. There's only one station. That's it. That's what they've told me over and over. Can't miss it. You just sooner than others. That's it.
All roads do lead to home, and
Essentially
home is with
right.
God.
Yeah, the recognition of your divinity, right? Knowing that you are source. So
Exactly.
this first message starts the way many of them do. And it was classic. Because this is, like I said, this ascension thing's been going on for a while, and you want to know where we're at, right? So I said, please, dear spirit, please give me an update on the ascension process. Greetings, dear one. It is I, Cryon, once again. And I have come today to share with you the updated consciousness that is occurring presently. As so much is brought up for review, brought into the light, much turmoil is occurring. As the truth of man's existence is revealed, many will simply refuse to recognize their origins and wall themselves off from reality. This is but one choice, their choice to not see the forest for the trees. But do not worry, as more and more come to the realization and accept that humanity has come from the stars, greater will the momentum be, and the expansion and ascension will only continue. So be not concerned with such thoughts and simply trust in what is provided via the ethers. You are not alone. You have never been alone and always loved beyond measure. So simply relax with the knowledge that this is the final chapter of life on earth in this energy, and only look forward to and expect great things, and continue to focus on the most benevolent outcome for every interaction in your life. This is my message this day. And remember, you are all so dearly loved by the Creator and all its parts, for there is never a separation, only a perception. So go forth each day knowing that you are magnificent and more powerful than you could imagine. Ryan. The first message talking about ascension. It's all positive. It's it. We're going, right? It's happening. And what the most important thing is, this is our final experience in life on earth as we know it. Okay, this tumultuous, turmoil-filled life. We're moving into a harmony, peace on earth, most benevolent outcome for everyone type of situation. Most benevolent outcome, MDO. Everyone gets something. Not everyone gets everything. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be equal for all of us. Balance. We've got to have that balance. Okay. Look, I'm not saying that capitalism is going to disappear and all that stuff. I don't know how it's going to work out, but they assure me and reassure me and so many other mediums and channels and vessels that abundance is coming. Abundance is here for everyone, not to worry. I can't wait. I'm waiting for the numbers in my bank account to just start adding zeros, but I know it's coming. I got to trust, right? They tell me, oh, we got to trust. So we trust. Just hasn't happened yet, I guess. Maybe Lynn will give us some insight later. Yeah. And I have another message from that same energy. Now, Cryon is referred to as the magnetic master. Okay. An energetic force source that we can tap into. Cryon is available to anyone, just like any other ascendant that we talk to or channel, or loved one that's passed. Everyone is there. It's just about finding their frequency, their barcode. Okay, that's how I look at it. Keep it simple. Everyone has a separate barcode. Once you learn that barcode, then you can tune into that person as much as you want. And they can't wait for that energy to talk to us. They're all there. It's a hands-off, free will planet. They will not reach out to us. We have to reach out to them. Once we reach out, that's it. The information starts to flow. So just reach out to whoever you want. That's the bottom line. So this was a little time later. Actually, this was yesterday morning. The other one was from a few weeks ago. But they tied together. So yesterday morning, I said, "Dear Spirit, please tell me what I need to know today." "Greetings, brother. It is I, Cryon, with you now." I said, "Cryon, why did you call me brother when you refer to yourself as the master?" I didn't really feel, like I was, entitled to that brother. He said, "My status is no greater than yours, for we are all equal in this experience. It is just that I have never been human. There is no differentiation in the soul, for we are all one." Okay. So I asked, "What can you share with me today?" "Oh, dear one, fear not the events of the past repeating themselves, for the light has won, and a new dynamic is at play. The earth is ascending quite rapidly, and is on pace to finish before it was ever expected. So simply be excited for the transition and continue to look to the stars, ethers, and the heavens for guidance, for it is available to all in such great abundance, and we cannot wait to reveal all ourselves to you and all mankind. We are your family. We are your team, and we are the love of source pouring down upon you, one and all. So let this be another day of joy as we celebrate together the milestones and achievements of so many who have worked tirelessly to see this through to its completion and move into a paradigm of only peace and love. Each and every time you or another begin the connection process, greater is the mass of freedom coming that will soon envelop the entire planet with love and independence. No longer will there be those who would like to control the many, all while working behind the scenes to relegate and utilize them for their own gain, with little left for everyone else. So expect for things to fall into balance, and your needs are met with little effort. It has been my delight to communicate with you. So be not shy and call my name more often, for there is a wealth of information and knowledge yet to be shared. I am Prion, and I bid farewell.
Beautiful.
As an update, it's happening. He's saying, spirit energy is saying, it's happening, and it's going to happen faster than was expected. We're going to come to this completion, to this transition, this heaven on earth phase. Now, of course, there's no date, no timeline. They didn't give me it's all potentials. We know, right? In spirituality, it's all potentials. Where you're at, how we align, and what the collective consciousness puts into motion is where we go as a group. So as long as we stay positive, continue to spread the love, share the love, be the love, and not the opposite, we're going to move this thing along. And there's no limit as to how fast it can happen. It's just about how many people can we get in the boat with us. You know what I'm saying? And like has been said before, that rising tide lifts all boats. So you go into a room, there's a bunch of people not at that level of vibration as you. You come in, you throw that smile, you tell a joke, you make something funny, you discuss something that you saw that was ridiculous on the way to whatever it is. You're going to continue to raise the vibration of everyone around you. And when you come to that position or that situation where there is the negative Nelly, the negative Nancy, whatever it is, don't ever lower yourself to them. The best thing you can do is just be neutral. Be neutral with that person. Let them have their experience. If that person wants to complain or dump stuff on you or let you know all the things that are wrong in their life or the world, the best answer is to just respond from Eckhart Tolle, Mr. Tolle, if you don't know Eckhart, is to just simply respond with, is that so? That's it.
I love that.
When someone says something that you don't want to dive into, if you know where it's going to lead and it's going to be negative, right? For you, for them, for anybody else around, just simply say, is that so? That's the volley. That throws it back to the person who's spinning in their mind, and either they're going to continue or they may stop, and you would hope that they would stop, think about what they just said, and say, well, wait a second, in their own mind, maybe there's a different option. Maybe it's really not that. It's not so. Maybe it's just what I make it out to be in my own mind. It's about us helping everyone to find that simple solution, the easiest way and the fastest way to lift your vibration, and not spin and spin and spin and whatever makes you less than. And that's what it's all about for us, right?
My mentor Melanie said that sometimes her brother or her fiance would come to her and they were just, full of mad. A phrase that I love to hear you say, just full of mad about this thing. And after they expressed their story, she would look at them and she'd go, God, they're such a jerk. She said they would light up because you're not going to try and, oh, poor baby, or, anything else. You kind of like step next to them and you're like, yeah. And it just diffuses the whole thing.
No. It's about pulling that pin.
It's so fascinating. I truly believe, I used to call myself a healer, and now I refer to myself as a witness, because I think that all that any of us truly ever want in life, all that we really crave and desire, is to be seen and known and witnessed by another. that someone can feel our heart, they can feel our feelings, they can feel what it is that we're feeling when we're feeling it. And I think that that's all that any of us desire. And I love to be able to do that for people. I love to be able to provide that. That when someone, whether it's their excitement or their pain, just to be able to sit with them and be with them and relate to that. I think that that's all any of us ever want. It's just about love. I was teaching a class last night, and we were teaching a technique that I call holodyne handling. And a holodyne is a self-organized information system. And it's basically what some people refer to as an entity. And we had someone who is actually present here in class tonight. And he had something that he was struggling with for a very long time. And it was an energy that moved around his body, which was, for me, was an indication that this was a living, breathing entity. And we talked with it and we felt into it. And then we invited guidance to come in and help in the removal of it. But it was done with love. And it was, the energy was introduced to Yeshua, and then agreed to leave, to go back to the light, to go back to source, to go back to its full operating potential. And then it left. And then several minutes later, I looked at this person, I'm like, he's looking for it. Because we asked how he was doing, and he said it wasn't there anymore. And sometimes we've just been so used to having like a thorn in our side. We've been used to having something with us for so long. And I think this thing had been around for like 9 generations. So it had been around for a while. Energy, everything is made of energy. And sometimes it attaches to us and it comes in as a friend, and then it wants to leave, but it can't. So it kind of creates mischief so that you'll pay attention to it so that it can go back. Because everything wants to go back to source. Everything wants to go back to the light. It's where we came from. It's where we're going back again. And I think that that's so important, that we remember that everyone and everything merely wants to be treated with love. And sometimes it's hard to do that. I had someone who I thought was seemingly attacking a friend of mine, and I was full of mad. Oh boy. And then I was challenged tonight to say, hey, what if you could just, what are you going to be offended because someone decides they want Santa Claus to be black? Are you going to be offended because someone says that, Jesus is not blonde hair with blue eyes? You just got to let everything be what it is. And she was right. And that's done with love. That's done with emotional maturity. And I'll be the first to say that sometimes I am an emotional genius, and other times I'm about 4 in a 62-year-old body. But
That's
happens to
fun.
all
That's
of us,
fun.
on a good,
The bigger picture there too, Lynn, and not arguing with people about what you believe someone or something is, like, you know what I'm saying? It's all creation.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
perfection. What you
Yeah.
believe that thing is your desire, is what makes you smile. Right. Hopefully that's what you're focusing on, things that make you smile. And it doesn't really matter. It really means nothing, because we're just here playing the game of life, having the experience, and just trying to get the highest score before they change before they reset the scoreboard. This is what the messages are saying. It's the final round. So it's about living in love, living in light, not getting immersed in the politics and the nonsense. We have to, as Saint Germain has said many, many times through a gentleman named Jeff Hoppy, who channels Adamus, Saint Germain, stand behind the short wall. Just watch this whole thing play out. It's over. It's the grand finale. It is what it is. The light has already won. We're going in that direction. There is no changing it. There is going to be no World War III. There is not going to be this nuclear annihilation. The spirits have said it for decades.
Yeah, we passed
that.
Happen.
The Galactic Federation, the Ashtar Command. There are so many entities and beings out in space, just above the stratosphere, where we cannot see them, right? That are protecting us and making sure. And from what they say, the Earth is in a quarantine stage. So no negative entities can come to the Earth. They can only try and escape. And when they escape, they're grabbed, they're given the option light or dark, light or dark. And this is what the messages have said. They choose the light, okay, they go in one direction. If they choose the dark, they are sequestered until such time as they are ready to go back to the light, because it's time for the reset. They cannot come and disrupt the ascension of the earth. We're not the first planet, from what they say, to have the ascension. We are one of the first planets to have a living ascension, okay, where the earth doesn't get wiped out like the Great Flood or an ice age. That's a transition from one type of life form and way of existence to another. They wipe it off and start again. Why do you think we find these structures all around the world that are 30,000, 50,000 or more years old? Complete buildings. When we grew up, I don't know, for me at this age, growing up and learning things in the 70s and the 80s, you know, everything was post-flood. Everything was post-Noah, post-ice age. There's nothing more than 10 or 12,000 years old. Well, now we know that that's not the case. They can't even put dates to some of this stuff, and they can't even say how it was built.
Right.
And that's because, right, it was built in a different epoch, a totally different epoch. The epoch of the dinosaur,
epoch.
very different epoch than the epoch of technology that we're in now. And
Exactly.
this technology has been given to us only in the last couple of 100 years. Look at where we've gone in 200 years, right? Wars were only fought during the day because there's no light. You didn't have a flashlight. You had a candle. You can't fight a war with a candle, right? So now we're up 24/7, 365. Technology has brought us from the dark ages to this age of technology and to the moon and beyond in less than 200 years, 150 years. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on what you say was the invention of electricity. Did that do it? Did, the telephone? What is it? It's very recent in our 26,000 year cycle of what they call the precession of the equinox, or the wobble of the earth. The wobble of the earth takes 26,000 years plus tax. We have just finished that wobble, and now we're on our way back in the other direction. Hence the disruptions of the climate, the atmosphere, the glacier shifts, okay, the melting here, but the freezing there. It's all part of the wobble of the earth. So again, there's so much stuff we were never taught. Once you delve into all these things, you're actually put at ease, because you say, well, that makes more sense than the nonsense that we've been taught. Like we evolved from pond scum that came off of a meteor, 10 million years ago. Now look at what we built ourselves into from a single cell amoeba. You know what I mean? It's just not possible. So when you start to trust in spirit and trust in the guides and the energies that are willing to and want to help and talk to us, boy, they really help to put it all in perspective. Along
Rob
with the
and
bits that were left.
Rob and I have a mentor by the name of Wendy, and Wendy is currently channeling a new entity who calls herself Mother Maya. She's a Mahadeva. And she said she came in with the opening of the eclipse that we had back in April, the April 8th eclipse. And she said she's here, and she's a protector and a defender, and she's here to help bring balance to the divine feminine. And the other day, kind of cryptically, she said something about, and you have no idea what lurks underneath Yellowstone. And then we had this thing happen the other day with Yellowstone, where it blew up.
Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday.
And Wendy was
Biscuit Crater, I believe is what it's called. I just happened to see it this morning. It's very funny that you're talking.
Aw, I love that.
Well, I love earthquakes and volcanoes, so I saw the notice and I was like, ooh.
Did you see the comment that was just made?
No, I don't know the chat open.
Nadia said that Wendy is mentoring her as well.
Oh, wonderful. Beautiful.
Right on.
Wendy is the woman who put me on this path. I mean, well, I shouldn't say put me on this path, helped to open up this ability to channel the way I am channeling now.
She gave
Lynn
you homework.
put me on this path. So many people put me on the path. It's not just one.
Exactly.
It's
Wendy,
the collective. And yeah.
Wendy and I have been friends since the late 80s. Her husband had we've known each other from Los Angeles since the 80s, when she had really big red hair and I had long brown hair. her husband ran a comedy troupe that some dear friends of mine were a part of. And I started going, and then I heard that they had a poker game. And I was like, I know how to play poker. And they were like, you don't know how to play poker. And little did they know that my stepfather had 8 brothers, and they would come get together and they'd play poker. So I learned how to play poker. So I started going over to Wendy's house, or her husband Mike's house, and we became dear friends and have been friends over all these years. Wendy is extraordinary. She has trained for 1,000 people to channel. She trained me back in 2017. She's quite remarkable. Oh, I love that you're working with her and Metatron and the crew. So Mother
Yes,
Maya
yes.
basically said, Mother Maya came in and she said, look, you guys need to be aware that there are going to be some incredible earth changes, that everything, you need to store water, you need to stock up on gold and silver. Money is going to be worthless. I mean, we saw what happened the other day when the ATMs went out and the flights got canceled and all that. They said she said that's just a blink of what it is that's going to be happening. So we need to be prepared. Rob, do you have a
Within
similar
reason,
kind of-
within reason. I need to add within reason, okay?
Okay.
It's not, we very careful not to sow fear. Okay, we
This
live,
isn't about fear.
no, I
it's not-
understand, but that can be easily misconstrued by some, and I'm sure people can agree with that. It's about trusting, being wise, prepared, like Lynn is saying, but we're not, I don't think Lynn's telling you to go build a bunker outside, right, Lynn? We're not saying that.
No, but I'm asking, do you have a solar,
Okay.
do you have a solar generator? Because I have a bicycle and you're very close.
Everybody has to, make sense, have provisions like you would if you were going into the winter and you lived outside of the town. You know what I mean? You got to be a little self-sufficient, be able to keep yourself warm. What we've been told, especially Cryon through, there's several people who channel Cryon. You can find them on YouTube, but there's a man named Lee Carroll who's prolific. And Cryon has talked in detail about what we can expect as far as earth changes go. Some areas of the planet are going to be colder than they normally are, what they refer to as a mini ice age. Okay, where potentially you could have an ice storm that lasts a week. If we have an ice storm that lasts a week anywhere where we have, that type of weather frequently, you can lose your power, but no one can come and put it back on for a week because the storm has to end. No utility is going to go out in the middle of an ice storm. So we're used to storms, maybe they last a day if we're lucky, but if we have one that lasts a week, that could really be disruptive. So those are the types of things that you should prepare for, knowing that everything's going to be reestablished, but it's just going to be longer than normal. Similar to what's going on in Texas right now. We had all these million people that had lost their power after that hurricane 2 weeks ago. And some people still 7, 8, 9, 10 days later still don't have power. Large groups of people.
There are people in Rico
those
that
types of things.
power.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Sure.
I know.
Right.
I know.
But in an area where it's a little more common for them in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean, in those islands, to have power go down, quite frequently. We're spoiled. We live in a place, the United States is a great place, and we've got the best grid in the planet, other than those up in, who bury it under the ground, the small ones.
We are spoiled.
So that's it. Yeah, we are spoiled. And so it's those creature comforts. Have things to read, very important. Have things to write with and write on, journals. If you do lose it for a couple of days, that's a great time to go into a meditative state and just start asking spirit for information. The quieter the better.
I'm just realizing I need
in the background.
An air pump for my bicycle. All right.
Okay.
Yeshua Ben Joseph would like to make an appearance.
Oh, thank you, Yeshua. Everybody, I hope
Yes, yes.
And if anybody has any questions, please either write them or throw your hand up so we can direct them toward Lynn if we get to that stage.
Yeah, he loves he's co-hosting this with us. He loves making an appearance. Oh, there's a big fluffy gray cat. Just walked into the room. Hi, Astro. Ooh, okay. Oh, interesting. Rory just tried to get tickets to get here. You want to send her the link?
I did. I'll send it to her again.
Hmm. Greetings, beloved ones.
Greetings.
Beloveds, none of what it is that is disclosed to you is ever meant to strike fear into you. Rather, what it is asking you to do is to be prepared. Always be prepared. Now, preparation may be that your will is to allow what will occur to occur, and you will have many different reactions to it. You may say, it is my time to leave. You may say, I will seek higher ground. You may say, I will buy a boat for when the lands flood. But, beloved, understand that all that will occur, you are aware of, you have agreed to, and it has been tucked away in the realm of what you would recall as being the records. Some refer to them as the Akashic records. Basically, beloved, this is a realm where everything is known to you. Your soul has access to all of this, what it is that you agreed to as far as how you would live your life, how you would earn your living, where you would live, with whom you would spend your life, who would be your parents, who would be your children, who would be your mates or not. All of this exists within you, and you continue to look outside of you for these answers. But, beloved, all we will ever do is redirect you back and within. We ask you to spend time in silence. We ask you to spend time in meditation. We ask you to communicate with us. We ask you to reach out to us. We ask you to allow us to be of assistance to you in the greatest way that we can. But it still is incumbent upon you to make this choice, to extend your hearts and open your hearts. And, beloved, the greatest thing that any one of you can do is to live a life from love, as love, by love, through love, with love. Love, love, love. For that is the very essence of what you are. And have you forgotten? Yes. Have you allowed yourself to nestle yourself away inside of your minds and to believe that you are your bodies? You are not. You have a body. It is a communication vessel, a communication vehicle for you to get through this time-space continuum. But if what you will do is allow yourself to liberally and broadly apply love to all that you think, to all that you do, to all that you experience, if you will ask to be shown what it is that you have forgotten, if you will allow yourselves to be loved by us, if you will call upon us, if you will start conversations with us, if you invite us in, you will see miracles occur. Ask, where would we have you go? What would we have you do? With whom would we have you do it? And you will find yourself in the most magical and miraculous of zones. So please, beloved, interact with us. It is our one purpose to be of assistance to you. And in so doing, beloveds, we invite any of you that have a question that you would like to ask, an interaction that you would like to have, anything that you would like to be reminded of. If you just want a little juice, please come forth and let us juice you up.
Yeah. Nadia, please ask your question. Unmute yourself.
What message do you have for me?
The message that I have for you is how much I love you. How you have always put a smile upon my face.
Oh,
How every time that you and I have ever interacted, my heart feels warm from your love. And how much that I appreciate that you remember me, for I remember you.
Okay. I have a quick question since I don't see any hands up.
Yes, brother.
Jesus, when did you pick up the moniker Christ? How, at what point in the last 2,000 years, who started to call you Christ? How did that come about?
I turned the lineage of what it was that I had taught over to Magdalene. And yet there were many that could not accept that she was the one that felt the most deeply, that she was the one that listened the most clearly, that she was the one that had gone from being a student to being a teacher. She has wisdom that is beyond imagination. And when she presented to her brothers, the apostles as they are known, that there were messages that she had received from me, it was rejected. And there was a separation that occurred. And there was a renaming and a distortion of so much of what had been taught. What had been taught lay with the Essene community, which was being destroyed and needed to go underground and needed to hide and needed to flee. And what had been come to be known as the teachings had come to be known as the Christian church. And there was a moniker that was applied. Beloved, all that we ever taught was that everyone was able to do what we have done, that you are able to love as we love, that you are able to know as we know, that you are able to resurrect as we resurrected. When you let go of any association that you have, that what you are is the body. Beloved, you have a body, but you are not a body. It is akin to you building a car and you step inside of the car and you say, now I am the car. You are not the car, you are the driver of the car. You are not the body, you are the driver of the body. And beloved, when the body dissipates and when the body disappears, you call it dying, but understand that it is actually a birth. And all the beings that you mourn and you cry and you think you have lost because they are no longer in your presence, beloved, they are more in your presence than they ever were. Beloved brother, you know this well for the ways in which you communicate with your parents. See through the illusion, beloveds. Wake up. Will yourselves understand that what you have all been given as images of God is the will of God, the free will of God. And with this will, with the right use of the mind and the right use of the will, you are able to make anything manifest. But you have allowed yourself to believe that reading, writing, and arithmetic and the memorization of the periodic tables and the memorization of times tables is what is important. And all this is done is relegated you to an aspect of the mind that allows you to use merely 10% of it. If you could allow yourself to lose your mind, beloveds, you could gain access to this other 90%, where you allow yourself to remember that what you are is a creator being, that what you have is a mind that creates with every single thought. If you understood the power of your mind, beloveds, truly, you would never allow yourself to think negatively. You would only think with intentionality and with love. Now, Lucifer and Allah, Abba, have set up a game where Lucifer has 50% of control of the mind of the shadow, and Source itself has 50% of the light. Now, each of you have come here with a 50-50 percentage of winning this game. But what you have been taught is that the light is dark and the light is evil. That the shadow is the best friend. And then you say, no, we have been taught that the shadow is what is evil and the light is what needs to win. But beloved, they are just the shadow and the light. Neither is evil, neither is dark. The forces of darkness say that they must stamp out the light. And the forces of light say that they must stamp out the darkness. And beloved, all you are meant to do is to come into harmony and balance and let them both exist. And what everyone fears is that one will overtake the other. But understand that when there is darkness, one need only light, even the briefest candle. And while you may not be able to find a wall, you will be able to find the truth. For the truth shall always guide you. And the truth is one thing and one thing only, beloved, and that is love. And you can love the shadow as well as you can love the light. The light has won, but so has the shadow. For they all exist in love. There is no war. There is only love. If you can learn to love your shadow, if you can learn to accept the parts of you that have done things in the name of darkness, and you can forgive yourself for that, that is truly the winning, that balance. That is truly the freedom. Love all things. God created all things, both sides, above, below, within, without, to the right, to the left, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, and everything in between. It is all God, and it is all love. So allow yourself to love and forgive the parts of you where you feel that you have failed, where you feel that you have come up short, beloveds, for you truly never have. Everything is as it should be. We know this was a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. We have time for one more.
Indeed.
Lynn has asked if there's a message for her. Lynn Hanson.
The message that we have is to have more faith in what it is that you know than to allow yourself to fear that you will not be sufficient to the task, beloved. Know that you have been chosen. Know that you have been invited. And know that you are where you are meant to be. And have faith in that. If you could see yourself as I see you, you would never have a moment of fear. You would never have a moment of doubt. You would laugh uproariously at what you have considered yourself to be, which is the body. You've been tested with illnesses, and you remain victorious. You have used your will to say, I will to live another day. I will to breathe another breath. All that is ever meant for any of you to do is to know that you have a strength within you. Do not let the circumstances, do not let the fears, do not let the people around you cause you to doubt. You are a woman of God. You are of the greatest service. Know that everything will work out. And know that I am with you always, beloved. We thank you for your time, all of you. We thank you for your attention. We thank you for the generosity of spirit that each of you are and each of you have. Come again, beloveds. And in the meantime, please talk to us. Please speak out loud, call us by name, and allow yourselves with an open heart to hear the answers that we have for you. We love you. And we look forward, indeed, we look forward to the day that you fully allow yourself to remember who you are. And you will say, you would not believe the dream that I have had. And we will say, oh, yes, we have, because we watched every moment of it. You were very entertaining.
That is great. Thank you, Yeshua. Thank you
Greetings
so much.
and salutations, beloved ones.
That was pretty wild, huh, everybody? You never know what's going to come through. And like all the messages saying, like Yeshua said, ask, 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 especially out loud. That's a vibratory sound complex. You're putting it out there. It's a signal. Just like when you call out to somebody in another room, it's a signal. They can hear you and they will respond. Look within, that meditation, find yourself. It says it in every message that Lynn channels, I write, and everyone else. The more we connect, the more each one of us raises our vibration, and the more we ascend. And as we do, we bring everyone with us. So that simply be excited for the transition. Look to the stars and the heavens for guidance. It is available in such great abundance. Okay, so that's the key. That's the key. So I can't wait to hear everybody's experience next week. I expect you all to at least break out a piece of paper, a pencil, or press record on your phone. Ask a question of spirit, guidance, your higher self, whoever your guide is. And if you don't have one, ask for a guide. I didn't know who mine was until Wendy told me. And once that was it, once I knew who to talk to, that was it. I ran out of ink fast. All right. Lynn, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
so
welcome,
much.
babe. I just, one last thing. I worked with a client today, and she was asking the Akashic Records who she was. And the Akashic Records said, we're not here to tell you. We're here to direct you to know your own answers. And they made her ask herself who she was. And she was so scared to say the name. And as soon as she said the name, it just became so apparent to her that that was the truth. And we have that knowledge and we have that wisdom inside of us. And all we need to do is ask. They're dying to communicate with us. So just try.
They can't die. They're living, thriving to communicate.
They're
with us.
thriving.
Thriving to communicate with us. Okay. That's what they threw that in there, thriving. So that's from somebody. Okay.
All right. Much love,
See
everybody.
you all next week.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you
for participating.
Aw,
So long,
you're so
Lynn,
welcome.
Heather,
Thank you, everybody.
Medea,
Linny!
Linda Thomas,
baby.
Algies, Tets.
Aw, Thank you,
So
everyone.
thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Much love. We'll see you soon.
Thank
My
you. Have a good
darlings.
night.
Bye, Alex.